Okay, there you go. There you go. Okay, we're right.
We're
Okay, so start again. Y'all, my name's Amber, Amber K. Boyd, attorney at law, and we're giving you the legal tea. Y'all, I practice employment law and I practice probate, and I am here with Trina Saunders today from Saunders Law, and she practices family law and
family mediation services.
There you go. So, y'all, if you have not watched Insecure is HBO's hit show, and it's amazing. And this Sunday, I watched and I was like, oh my gosh, Condola, Lawrence, what's going on? So
a lot
going on. A lot's going on. Yeah. So I was like, look, people were asking me questions. My husband was asking me questions. Other friends were asking me questions like, can she do this? What? I said, look, I don't practice family law, but I know an amazing attorney in Indiana who practices family law and who is going to be able to tell us, like, give us the tea. Tell us what we all need to know, Trina.
Okay. First of all, the conflict started well before the child was born.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Right. And that's so typical of these cases. So when a child is born out of wedlock, it's automatically the presumption that the mother has custody.
Oh, wow. So automatically,
child comes out, mother has custody. Now, father signs the birth certificate.
Okay.
AKA paternity affidavit.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Didn't know.
And that puts the child's last name and father's last name.
Okay.
So in the episode,
yes,
he was lucky to get the last name.
Yes.
Because they already named the child.
Right. Okay.
Before basically he came in the door, the child was born, and the child was named.
Right.
And he had to find out via text message.
Right.
Which was nonsense.
Right. So I got a question about that though. Okay. So when he comes into the hospital room, they tell him, we named the child Elijah Mustafa. He's like, where did this come from? Right. So he had no involvement in the naming of the child. Does a father have rights to the name of his child, or?
Only the ones that the mother gives him.
Okay.
Which is why it's very important to have these conversations beforehand.
Okay.
And he was really at a disadvantage.
Okay.
Because he wasn't there when the child was born. He's in a totally different city. So he had to fly in. And by that time, it's already kind of happening.
Yes.
So he's behind the 8 ball already.
Okay.
And I feel like he didn't have a plan. They didn't have a plan.
So if this were to happen in real life, right? Someone gets someone else pregnant and they're not in a relationship. You're right. They're having a child out of wedlock. What can they do to make sure they're involved prior to the baby coming here? So how do they say, okay, look, how can I make sure I'm involved in the naming of my child? Like, is there something they can do?
No, unfortunately, there's not.
Nothing.
Because there's nothing that you can do preemptively.
Okay.
As far as something that can be enforced in court.
Oh, okay.
So once the child is born, the father signs the paternity affidavit. That gives him rights as a father. But in order to enforce those rights, he's got to file something in court.
Oh, wow.
And that's a petition to establish paternity.
Okay.
It's not synonymous with a DNA test.
Okay.
A paternity test.
Okay.
That may happen.
Right.
If he's disputing it or mother is disputing it.
Right.
But under a paternity case, you have custody, legal custody. And we can talk about that.
Yeah, we
are going to talk about legal custody.
I don't know what it means.
Okay.
Ready go.
Okay. You want to talk about it now?
Let's talk about what is legal custody.
Okay. So custody is there's two different branches of custody, if you will.
Yes.
So
there's branches.
Okay. So there's physical custody.
Okay.
And there's legal custody.
Okay. What's physical custody?
Physical custody is where the child primarily lives.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Legal custody is the decision-making authority.
Okay.
That both parents have or only one parent will have. And that's concerning the major life decisions. So we're talking medical.
Okay.
Religious.
Okay.
Education.
Okay.
And they
making stuff
happen already. The child, all the baptismal drops versus a dip. I mean, like, and it gets that deep.
Yeah,
it does. So parties can agree on joint legal custody, or if they go to court, the court can grant joint legal. However, here in Indiana, if the judge finds that the parties have issues communicating, that there's a protective order, there will be no joint custody.
At all?
No joint legal custody, because you have to be able to communicate.
So that's key.
That's the co-parenting part of it.
Okay.
That's key.
Okay. Wow. So can you, and tell me this right, can you split physical custody? Can it just be 50-50 physical custody, and can it be 50-50 legal custody?
It can.
Okay.
So legal custody is, when it's joint, it's 50-50.
Okay.
When you have shared custody or joint physical custody, there's the title. Okay. There's the title of custody, and then there's the actual parenting time that both parents share. So you may have a situation where, the parents are alternating weeks. Okay. 1 week the child's with mom, 1 week the child's with dad. Okay. The guideline parenting time, which is the default, if parents can't agree, is every other weekend, 1 evening per week. You share holidays, you split the summer. That's the minimum. That's the very minimum guideline. Okay,
so what happens? Because this baby is like fresh out the womb.
Fresh out.
Right, so he's fresh out the womb. What will happen in that situation is, does Lauren say, look, I'm going to go to court? If he goes to court and does the legal custody, and says, I want shared legal custody, and he wants shared physical custody, can he have that right now when the baby's so young, or is that a possibility?
It depends. Okay. So right away, if this is a situation, if you, as a father, if you want that time, if you want to really be a father, start exercising whatever you can as soon as you can. Because the question will be, have you ever had overnights with the child? Have you had that caregiving role with the child? Because remember, the standard of review is best interest of the child.
True.
So it takes it away from, he's bad, she lied. It take that out of the picture, and it's, what is the best interest of the child? Right. And when they're so small like that, the presumption is, obviously, they need to be more with mom. She's breastfeeding, so she's on a feeding schedule. Right. They will look at, the proximity, like where father is, how much time the child's going to be in the car. They get really
in the nitty-gritty.
They get really deep with it.
Okay.
Also, when they're that small, they do studies about children, and when they're that age, the more visits, but shorter visits.
Oh, okay. So what they'll do is they'll say, maybe the father, if he's in the same, say this Indianapolis, or Indianapolis, the father's in Indianapolis, mom's in Indianapolis, and so maybe the court will give them hours instead of days,
rather than days and overnights. Right. Oh, okay. So right now it's like 3 days during the week, but not consecutive days when they're infants. And then as they get older, by the time they're 3, they should be on complete overnight. Okay. But it shouldn't take that long.
Oh, really?
It shouldn't take until they're 3 for the father to have overnight.
Do y'all hear that? It does not take that long.
Does it? No, sorry. And the goal is to speed that process up without traumatizing the child. Right. And there was a part in the show where she's like, oh no, I don't want him to go with you now. Right. And it's like, it's just around the corner. Like what I made him. What do you think is going to happen? And then and it's the control elements. If you practice family law, if you have had this issue before, there it is a struggle and it's a power play.
Yes.
That's all it is.
And this is the thing. I'm not a fan of Lawrence. Never have been, and I kind of walked away feeling a little sorry for him, not all the way, because when they did the side by side of what he was doing in his life, what she was doing hers, I was like, oh gosh.
Oh yes.
I don't
he was doing the most while she was in the battlefield.
In the trenches. Yes. In the trenches. And so I know you say like pre-planning, talk about like what you all want. Clearly that didn't happen in the show. No. Clearly not at all. Because when Lawrence arrives at the hospital, it was clear he never even met the family. Like,
right.
They're like,
oh, she's like, this is Lawrence.
First day. Oh, here's my grandbaby. Here's the grandbaby's father.
Yeah.
So that's clearly not okay. Another thing, so everything was happening so fast. It just feels like it was always a conflict every step of the way.
Yes.
And so even leaving, they left the hospital. He's talking about the fact that he had to fight for the child to have his last name. And then when he goes to the doctor and they're trying to talk about milk production, talk about the baby's weight, he asks her, he says, hey, is it possible for you to have the doctor appointments on this day? And she goes, no. The doctor is only available this day. No, we all know we could probably arrange some things if we want to arrange some things. But she's like, no.
Right.
Is he just like kind of beholden to that no and say like, okay, well, the doctor's not, well, she says the doctor's not available, so.
He is, unless he has joint legal. Okay. So that's where that medical piece comes in.
Yeah.
If he has joint legal, then he can call the doctor and say, hey, now mind you, both parties have to still agree to make those life-changing decisions. And if there's a conflict, guess what? They're going to go to court. That's the only way to resolve that conflict. So what it does is it's, if you're not getting along, you're set up for almost a lifetime of legal mess in court,
costs and everything,
hearings and everything.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I hate to say it like this, but sometimes you have to play nice.
Yes.
You have to play nice. And I think the issue with them is because he lives so far, she feels like she's in it by herself.
Yes.
And I didn't, even though I did feel sorry for him, I didn't see him say, what can I do? What can I do to make this easier? Or do you want to come over to my hotel room?
Yes.
Sit with the baby for a little while to make sure he's okay and he's comfortable.
Yes.
And then, give me an hour with him to transition it.
Yes.
I mean, he wants to come in like he's father of the year. And he's got good intentions.
He does.
He's got good intentions, but they didn't have a plan. And like I said, the conflict started before the child was born. Right. They're not together.
Right.
And so she's punishing him for that.
Yeah. And that was a thing too. And I was like, because I was feeling sorry for him. Then I saw the side by side a little bit. But I think the issue with Lawrence too is he thinks, well, his comparison is there are men who aren't doing anything. It's like, that shouldn't be a comparison.
Like not the deadbeat, and then I'm
because I'm coming every 2 weeks and missing appointment and missing visits. Like,
right.
So that's a problem too. What's the impact? Because he was they set up some kind of visitation, right? Clearly, it seems like it hasn't gone through the court process at all. And he's missing some of the visitation. How does that impact him going forward if they do go through the court process? I mean, does that have any impact?
Absolutely. In order to show that that you're a present and involved father, you need to be there at every single parenting time. And if you're even asking for more, they're not going to give you more if you're not exercising what you got.
Right.
So it's very, very important early on to be as present as possible.
Okay.
I mean, I know men that are like, okay, I'm going to move back to the city because I actually want to be a father. I want to be there every day if I can, and not every other weekend. I mean, and like I said, that's the bare minimum. There are new Indiana parenting time guidelines also.
Y'all listen to this. Wait, so what are the new Indiana parenting guidelines? Because y'all, I don't practice like parenting time guidelines.
Okay, so it's not visitation.
Okay.
I mean, it hasn't been that in quite some time, probably like 20 years, because a parent should be visiting.
Thank you.
Or babysitting.
Because no parent can babysit,
no,
right?
No,
you're a parent. You take care of your child.
Taking care of your child. So it's parenting time. And there has been a shift.
Okay.
To move from this alternating weekends thing to a shared parenting time schedule, more of a 50-50.
Like, is it 1 week off, 1 week on?
It just depends. I mean, and the judges will decide on a case-by-case basis based off of the parents' work schedules, schools, and things like that. But the whole premise is 2 households, 1 home.
What? Wow. That's a total shift from like 10, 20 years ago. Was like the mom has all the power. Don't come over here with anything like that.
Exactly.
You can see the child when mama says she can see the child. So this is totally different.
Is totally different, totally new. I mean, and it won't be just a blanket 50-50.
Right, of course.
I mean, the judges have to do an evaluation. They have to determine what's in the child's best interest. But I think that this is very progressive for our state to move in that direction. And I've had more and more cases where fathers are like, I want 50-50 time.
Really?
I want that shared time. I want that joint custody.
Okay.
And they're getting it.
Really?
They're getting it. Like right now, the bare minimum is the every other weekend, one evening during the week. Well, now they're giving like not just that evening. That evening is an overnight usually.
Oh, so they have like 3 days, or every other weekend. So almost some weeks, 3 days a week, he's with the kid.
Yeah, and then Sundays they've been giving them an overnight on Sundays. So now you're looking at Friday through Sunday, alternating weekends, and then at least one week night overnight.
Okay, so how does this? Because people will ask this, how does visitation impact child support?
Okay.
Because I'm sure it does. It has to, right?
Big time.
Okay.
It does.
Okay.
It does. So the child support obligation worksheet, okay, it contemplates mother's income, father's income.
Okay.
Okay. Also, if one of the parties has younger children or one has older children, they factor all of that in. Health insurance premiums, child care expenses.
Oh, wow.
Also, whether it's the mother or the father, whoever the non-custodial parent is, they get a credit for exercising overnights.
Wow. Because
when the child is with you overnight, you're feeding that child, you're clothing that child. You know, you have to have a bedroom for them. So the more overnights you have, the more of a credit you will have. So hence the push for that 50-50 split.
Yeah. Okay, so then we get to the baby shower. Well, the baby shower, the baby's birthday party. So baby's birthday party. Kelly, who is a character on the show, is hilarious. Lawrence goes to the show.
Kelly.
She says legit the best line of the show. Everyone I know is thriving.
Yes.
Flourishing in the living in abundance. Yes. That's how my friends talk about me when we talking to an ex. So perfect. I love Kelly. She's hilarious. But while they're there, they get into a little argument. Right? And it's again that tug of war.
Yes.
Regarding who's going to be responsible for the baby, who's going to have control of the baby. What do you counsel? Because I know you're like a counselor to clients. So you're like a lawyer, but then you're like a therapist too. Like, how do you tell your clients, like, counsel them through those difficult situations? Because I know you see them all the time.
I do. I see them all the time, and I have to remind them what's really important.
Yeah.
The child is really important. And I had a judge one time tell a mom, you got along for at least 5 minutes with him. Now, it was hilarious. I wanted to laugh so hard. But you have to remember that, you didn't make the child by yourself. Yeah. And at some point, you're not going to have a lawyer involved. Yeah. And you're going to, the child might be 5. You have a long way to go.
A long way to go.
So you're going to have to kind of give up. Yeah. A little bit at a time. Yeah. And not to fast forward too much, but when they really got into it, when she didn't want to let him go. Yes. And she said, I don't trust you. Yes. Yes. That is the problem. Right. Because she trusted him. Yes. And he broke up with her. Yeah. And then she gets pregnant. Yeah. And then he leaves. So, I just tell them, look, you have a long way to go. And it's not about you. Yeah, it's about that child. Right. And the better, because there's that, did you know there was such a thing as a child safety zone? Not at all. What is a child safety zone, y'all? I don't know. What okay. So the court, in the Indiana Parenting Time Guidelines, neither parent is to make disparaging remarks about the other parent in front of the child. You are not to argue and to really basically be toxic around this child. And the husband, what's her name? I feel like it's Tiffany's husband. Tiffany's husband. I don't know him. I don't know his name. But he's just like, your child can feel all of that. And so you have to, you can't act out like this. Right. And I think Lawrence was just so frustrated. Yes. He just didn't know what to do and how to handle it. And then there's all these people around. Right. Because she fronted on him. She did.
Give me my baby.
Give me my baby.
My baby.
Oh, and that the judges don't like to hear that.
No.
At hearings, if you keep saying my baby, that tells them and shows them that maybe you are being a problem.
Right.
Maybe you are withholding parenting.
So you're telling yourself. So if you're in hearings with a judge, probably need to zip that.
Zip that particular statement
quickly.
That conflict that was, like I said, it's so typical. And like with the feeding, well, he wasn't supposed to be on solids for 4 months. Yes. 4 months was supposed to be okay.
Yes.
But it's like he took that away from her introducing the solids.
Yes.
And so
that was the issue too. At the end, kind of towards the end, they get in this argument. It's in Condola's kitchen. And he's like, look, I'm going to do what I got to do. And to me, it seemed like he was going to take legal action.
Yes.
If you're in a situation like that and you're thinking, look, I got to take legal action, like, what do you say? Like, this is what people should do. Like, this is what you should do. If you think this is what you're going to have to do, how do you make sure that you're preparing yourself for success when you do go to court?
Take very good notes. Keep a calendar of all the days that you have your parenting time, the times, who's doing pickup and drop off. If you have, take pictures of your home, showing the child's room, the crib, the dresser, clothing, that you are equipped.
Yes, to take care of the kid.
Because
if you are saying I want to have parenting time and they got a bed, like either
or you live with your mom's in the basement.
That's not gonna work, y'all.
Now, you can still have parenting time.
Yes.
But the length and how much parenting time you have will be impacted if you don't have a space for that child.
Wow.
So I would say that. Text messages and emails.
It gets people all the time.
Yes, because people tell them themselves. They do. So be very careful.
Okay.
Be very intentional
about what you say.
What else? And just try not to be the problem. That's
try not to be the problem. That's a big ass for a lot of people.
It's so frustrating. And there are, just like there are women, there are men. If I'm not going to be with you, then I'm not going to be with the child.
Yes.
And so there's, like I said, it's a constant power struggle there.
Yeah. Okay. And so this is another question I have regarding him saying, look, I'm going to take legal action. I've heard this before. I do not know this, Trina. So you tell me if this is true. In regards to just the child support, if he's purchasing for the things for the baby and he's not on child support while he's doing all these purchases, like, should he keep receipts? What should he do?
Yes, keep receipts. All the receipts. Because once that petition is filed to establish paternity, that's when the child support actually can start.
Oh, wow.
You may not get into court for 6 months.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, yeah, we're behind. We are the courts are so behind. Yes, they're setting things in March and April now.
In November?
In November, March and April.
So, y'all, if you are having some issues with the father of your child or the mother of your child, contact Trina right now. Because if you are having those issues, you will not get into court till March or April. So let's nip that in the bud right now.
And just be you can't wait and think, okay, I can get into court next week. Not even next month. It's not going to happen. So let's say, we filed the petition today, November 11th. Start keeping account receipts of everything that you purchase, because when we go to court, let's say in March, that arrearage, that child support arrearage can be tolling.
Okay, wait a minute. Let me make sure I'm okay. Yeah, this is my one. So say the kid is like 3. You're like, look, I'm thugging it out. I'm trying to get through this, trying to co-parent as best I can. And I am the non-custodial parent.
Mm-hmm.
So I go and file a petition. Look, I need to get my parenting time. I need to get this, whatever. I need to get that straightened out. Once I file a petition, can they then go backwards for the 3 years that the child was born?
No.
Oh,
no.
So no backwards.
No, you cannot go back before the petition was filed.
Oh, wow.
And I've seen it, where the parties were getting along fine. Now the child is 10. Now they're not getting along.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mother wants child support from the day one. She wants hospital bills. Yeah. No.
Can't do that.
Cannot do that.
Okay.
You can only go back to the date that the petition was filed.
And this is important for mothers too, right? So
absolutely.
If your child, correct me if I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. So if you have a kid and he's not paying child support and you're okay with it now, but if you're thinking that you're not going to be okay with the kid 16 because the kid wears a 12 shoe and
mm-hmm.
is way more expensive, probably need to file it as soon as possible, and then go from there.
Yes, because you're not going to be able to go back
at all.
You're not going to be able to go back before that petition was filed.
Okay, see that's an urban legend out here. Maybe the logic, I don't know, but it was always this urban legend of, keep your receipt because you're on a place. Because if she then files a petition, I'm just using the female pronoun. If she files a petition, she can go back to get child support from 10 years ago. But that's not the case at all.
That's not the case at all. That's the case.
Good. Okay.
So that's why, being proactive, because you were asking questions earlier about, what can he do about that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, he can't do anything until he has a court order.
Right.
He can't. Yeah, he's the father.
Right.
But really, the only rights he has are the ones that she's going to give him until there's actually a paternity decree.
Okay.
An order that states these are his rights.
Mm-hmm.
This is when the parenting time should be. These are the days.
Mm-hmm.
So that if she says, well, you know what, you can't have him this weekend, we have something else planned,
mm-hmm.
he can file contempt against her.
Perfect.
And guess what? Too many of those contempts equals him actually being able to get custody.
Really?
Yes.
This is a complete 180 from back in the day. I feel like.
Yes, it is. It is. Times have changed.
Yes.
Times have changed. And I get so many fathers calling like, I know it's a woman's day, but I'm like, no.
It's not that way anymore.
It's not that way anymore.
Oh, wow.
So things are changing.
Mm-hmm.
It's becoming more progressive.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't sit on your rights.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You cannot sit on your rights.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, if she's, and it's always good while you guys are getting along.
Right. And then until
it's not good. And then it's like, oh, what do I do? Can she do this? Here's another thing. Custodial parents.
Tell us.
Custodial parents.
What's going on? Yes.
You have custody.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just move to Florida because you want to. I repeat, you cannot just move to Florida because there's fun and sun there.
Not sun and fun.
Sun and fun and sun. You can't. When you have a child and if that child is born in Indiana and you live here in Indiana, so residency is established, there's jurisdiction already established, and you haven't even filed anything in court yet.
Oh, no. So, but if you do want to move, can you file something in court and say, look, I want to move?
Absolutely. You will file that notice of intent to relocate.
Okay.
You file it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to give that other parent notification. And there's some statutory requirements with that notice.
Oh, really?
So I wouldn't do that by myself. Even if you don't call me, call some attorney. Because guess what? Call me. But guess what? The court can change custody because you didn't file the notice.
Really?
Absolutely.
Just because you didn't file the notice?
Because you didn't file the notice and you moved. They can require the child to come back to the jurisdiction and that the other parent will get custody.
Okay, this is another question. This is so good that you said that because, in this situation with Lawrence and Condola, he's in San Francisco and she's in LA. So clearly they're in two different cities. And so she just clearly can't move to another state without telling him. But is this before he files in court? Can she do whatever she wants if they haven't filed an established paternity in court?
No, she still can't.
Okay.
It doesn't even matter if they haven't filed anything.
Okay.
And this is in Indiana.
Okay.
And I really can't speak to California.
Yeah, of course.
So that's the disclaimer.
Yes.
But
always a disclaimer.
In Indiana, even if nothing is filed, and let's say they've been getting along or whatever, and she's just like, hey, I live in Indianapolis, but I've got an opportunity in Chicago. She can't just leave without filing a notice with the court. So she will end up having to file for paternity, file a notice with the court
that she's leaving,
even though there's no court order.
Y'all, don't leave. Don't leave without getting the court involved. And honestly, also, don't leave without contacting an attorney. And I see this all the time in like every video that I ever post. Like, I understand y'all are smart. Every one of y'all are smart. Y'all can Google. Y'all are Google masters.
Yes.
But the truth is, Trina's been doing this for how long? Like 25 years?
26
years. She don't look it. She looks great. But you need an attorney to do these things. Because if you don't get an attorney to do these things, you can really mess your whole situation up really badly.
I mean, I hate getting that phone call. That her, mom, she's had custody. She's had sole custody.
The entire time.
She got a great job in, Texas or Arizona. She packs up, the kid. She moves. The father knows that she's moving. Says nothing. And then she gets a subpoena.
No.
Where he is objecting to her relocation. He's asking for a temporary restraining order.
What?
Oh, it gets ill. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And then, then they go to court without an attorney. And I've seen where the court is just like, you're going to have to either return to the jurisdiction or father gets custody. Now, mind you, she's already moved.
Accepted the job. They're living sitting pretty. Okay.
And also, I'll repeat, don't sleep on your rights. So if you are the father,
right,
and you see that that's happening, don't wait a year
after to
object.
Right.
Because at that point, the child is in school,
right,
and they've got a routine, and now they're in a home. A year to us may not seem like a long time, but a year to a child is a long time.
And that's just like you said about the court's gonna look at the best interest of the child. So by a year, when a year is up, the best interest of the child is to say where they're at.
Right.
Wow. Okay. Well. So this goes back to we talked about the court's docket is pretty backed up.
Yes.
So if this is happening to you now, you need to file that petition immediately.
Yes.
I don't know. Do they have emergency hearings?
Yes, that's a great question. Okay. They do have emergency hearings when there is a relocation on the table.
Okay.
Because there are, statutory requirements about getting those parties into court as soon as possible.
Okay.
There's some case law about that. You can't just keep continuing it out because you're talking about the best interest of the child. And so you can't just keep kind of pushing that off. So they have the parties get into court as soon as possible.
Okay.
So yeah.
So if that's happening, if you think that's going to happen, if they're sending you text messages about that happening, contact an attorney immediately.
Absolutely.
So you can be represented. Because what I've also found is I find that a lot of people, they go into these hearings without an attorney, but the other side has an attorney.
Yes.
And we attorneys are kind of smooth talkers.
Oh, yes, we are.
So you can be giving them stuff you don't have to give up. You just thinking, okay, I guess it sounds okay, but you don't know the ramifications behind all of it.
All of it. Because, and you're not going to know 5 and 6 steps ahead,
right,
where we know where everything is going.
Right.
You're not going to know how to get your evidence in, how to get those text messages or those photos into evidence. That other attorney, he's gonna or she's gonna object to certain things. You're not gonna know how to respond to that, or what's really important, because a lot of times these hearings are only issue specific, and so they don't want to hear about what happened when he cheated on you, in 2015. You know, they want to know.
7.
Yeah.
Don't care anymore.
Right. And by the way, I mean, this is just a little bit for our divorce clients that are out there.
Yes. Okay.
Indiana is a no-fault state.
Okay.
So what does that mean? It doesn't matter what they did. They could have.
I feel like it always should be presented a little bit. Like, this person's horrible.
Well, if it's domestic violence,
okay,
then that should be presented.
Okay.
Especially when there are children involved.
Okay. What if it's just cheating? It's just cheating. Is that No, they don't care.
They don't care, and it does not impact the marital distribution of assets. So you can't say
he's a cheater.
If he's a cheater, he can have 4 or 5 women. She can have 4 or 5 men and 2 women.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It does not impact the distribution of the assets. It does not impact custody or parenting time. If that parent is involved with, drugs, reckless behavior like that, then absolutely. But if
they're just a cheater, then nothing you can do.
No.
And I don't know if this is true or not. Again, I do not practice family law. Trina does. So, spousal support, alimony, right? Everyone calls alimony. You're like, look, I'm going to get alimony for 5 years because, I've been a housewife, or I've been a house dad. And, is that possible?
It's possible. It's not always probable.
Okay.
In Indiana. We don't have alimony. We have spousal maintenance.
That sounds bad.
Okay.
I don't want to be maintained. I want to be supported.
Right. So it's awarded in very, very few cases.
Really? Why?
Because if both parties are able-bodied and they've been working, forget about it. Okay. If you have one party that maybe like the entire marriage, like you said, they've been house, wife. They've been raising the kids and, never went to school, maybe only have a high school education, then the judge can order that other spouse pay for them an education program, pay the rent or something, for a period of time until they can
a period of time. My life. No,
it's not Cali.
This is not California, New York. This is not it.
No. So it's awarded in very few situations. I've actually only seen it like a handful of cases in my 26 years.
A handful of cases, y'all.
So don't think that I'm about to, really I'm hitting the lick once.
I married this man.
I married this man. Just and be smart about your finances. Know what the finances are. When those mortgage statements come in and those bank statements come in, look at them. Have them emailed to you.
Yes.
So that you can go back. The tax returns.
Oh, yeah.
How many people, there'll be one copy, and if you end up leaving the marital residence, well, you don't have access to
the
that.
Copy at all.
So, when you're talking about having a plan, people don't necessarily get married thinking, I'm going to be divorced in 5 years. You don't think that way. But if you're having a child with someone, you don't have a relationship with them, take, mental notes, because you're not together.
You're not
together, and there's no telling, how this is going to go and what's going to happen with that.
So at the end of the show, we saw that Lawrence looks like he's taking legal action. What would you, if you could advise Lawrence? And Lawrence is clearly a fictional character.
Yes.
But if you could advise Lawrence, what would you advise him to do? He's a single dad. He is not the non-custodial parent. What do you advise a dad who's a non-custodial parent to do in this type of situation?
Get counsel right away. That's the first thing you need to do. And look, get the free consultation. Yes. I offer free consultations because I want my whoever calls, I want us to be educated. I want us to know what our rights are. Get counsel. Have take good notes, exercise as much parenting time as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I know, he's like, well, I work, I have a job. Well, yes, but you have a child.
Right.
You have a child too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear a mention of support at all. I didn't hear her say, I got the check, I got the cash out.
Right.
So if, pay support, even though it's not ordered.
Yeah.
Because nothing angers a judge, I think, more than a father coming in and he's not done anything. And he's not demonstrated anything.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, child support has nothing to do with parenting time.
Oh.
Okay, so you have this father, let's say he's unemployed, he's down on his luck or whatever, you can't withhold parenting time.
Because he's not paying
child support. You can't say, well, look, until I get my check, you can't see your son. No.
Okay.
No. So they don't play off of each other.
Okay. Wait, so in Lawrence's situation, or in the non-custodial parent situation, you say get counsel, take good notes. And you say, look, pay some money, give some money. But don't put cash in anybody's hand. Unless you're a lawyer. No need to. They're right. And honestly, with all this technology,
there's no need to do that. Cash apps,
Venmo,
Apple PayPal. I mean,
you should have some receipts.
You should have some receipts. Don't do money orders, people.
Because you're not
gonna
keep the receipts.
Keep that little tag, that little receipt.
I've never kept one a day in my life.
No, I'll keep it for 2 weeks, and then I clean out my purse, and then it's gone. It's gone. So there's no need to do that. Just to show the consistency.
Yes.
And the involvement. I mean, how can you say, okay, I want to be a father when you're not involved? You're not providing for support, and that makes an argument for that custodial parent to have sole legal custody and sole physical.
What would you say also, because he's in another city, would you say move back? I mean,
I would ask my client, what is it, what kind of father do you want to be? Do you want to be that every now and again, weekend kind of dad? Or do you want to be involved? Because guess what? Condola's young. You think she's not going to find somebody else?
Oh, she's going to find somebody else.
And Eli or Ja, did you pick up on that?
Yes.
Will be calling somebody else dad.
Quickly.
Is that, I know that's what made Jay-Z straighten up.
Quick. Like, I can't.
He saw where
what you just saw. I was like, wait a minute.
What's going on?
Daddy. Papa Russ.
Right. So if you want to be a father, an involved father, move back. That's going to be your best chance to getting 50-50 custody.
And be involved in the kid's life, to seriously involved, not weekends, not every other summer, whatever it is, to be a serious day-to-day parent, and to be able to have, it seems like, the decision-making authority, right?
Yes, absolutely. And even if you don't have legal custody, joint legal custody, that does not keep you from going to the school.
Okay. Yeah.
And getting the records, getting on the portal, getting doing the parent-teacher conferences, attending their little league games. You don't have it. It doesn't have to be like, oh, well, it's not your parenting time, you can't come. No, it's an activity where the child's involved. So you have a right to be there.
Right.
You can call the doctor's office and say, hey, are there any checkups coming up? Are there any appointments coming up? You can call the dentist. So just because she won't let me have, or she won't do, doesn't mean that you can't, pick up the ball and keep it going.
Yeah. Trina, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, this is why I don't practice family law. This is why Trina practices family law and mediation.
Mediation services, family law mediation, specialized driving privileges as well. That's that hardship license.
Yes, she's your girl.
I stopped doing criminal law for the most part, you guys. I just couldn't do both.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But she's an amazing attorney.
Thank you. I'm in good company.
Thank you so much. That's my girl. But she's an amazing attorney. So if you have a family law issue, if you are experiencing some things we're talking about in regards to, your parental rights just being violated, that your significant other or the custodial parent is just going to move away with the kid. If you're trying to figure out, visitation, whatever, contact Trina. She's really going to be able to help you. And like I said, I say this all the time in all my videos. Y'all are smart. You can Google. You probably can fill out those forms. But it's nothing like having an experienced attorney to fight for you. And there's not that many attorneys in Indiana who's going to fight for you like Trina will. And so contact her. I'm going to put her contact information in the comments of this video. And I'm sure she'll be happy to talk to you. Trina, is there anything you want to say?
I'll be happy to talk to you. Just be very mindful. When you're dealing with that other parent, try not to be, toxic. Just think about right. But think about the child.
Yes.
So let that guide you in your actions, and just don't do it alone. You don't have to do it alone. There are many attorneys, of course, but
I ain't talking about many.
Just don't talk about me. But just don't try to go it alone.
Yeah. Trina, thank you so much for joining the Legal Tea. I really appreciate you. I was not going to start the Legal Tea back up until next year, but I saw this episode and I immediately thought of Trina and having her on because I just knew she'd be able to provide a really fresh perspective about family law and really dispel some of these myths, right? Because when that show came out, everyone was writing all this stuff on Twitter and Facebook. But y'all, this is really the law, and so let's let go of this urban myths. Because I had some too, because I don't practice this law. Thank God that we can talk to Trina and she can provide us with this information. If you are watching this on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, please like and please share this video. Also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and the Facebook page as well. You can like the Facebook page. And thank you so much, you all, for joining us for today's Legal Tea. It was fun. Do this again. All right. Bye, y'all. Have a great day.
Bye.